All right. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here at Google Developer Group as part of the Women Tech Makers. Without further ado, I'm going to jump right in because I only have 5 minutes to complete my lightning talk. Today, I will be covering Code More Faster, which will focus on 5 tips that will help you build software as quickly as possible and ship. So my name is Madison Susie. I'm a founding engineer at bookclub.com. We make a consumer application that lets you interact directly with the author of the books that you're reading. And I've been a long-time observer of the balance between quality and speed in software. In my career, I've spent most of my time in startups and in innovation teams in larger companies. And this is a question that comes up relatively often about the quality of the software that we should be building versus the speed to ship it. So in this talk, we'll be covering some of the things about how to build as quickly as possible and focusing on that side of the balance. So imagine us tipping the scale really severely towards speed. And in this, I will be kind of using the anecdote of Techstars Studio, which was a piece of software, a platform that I built last year. And it was a piece of software that we built really, really quickly and focused on speed. So quick recap of what that is. It is a portal meant to be used inside of the Techstars network, so for founders who have gone through the Techstars program and who potentially have other ideas of companies that they may want to start or may want to join new companies. So we built a platform that allowed these founders or other people in the network to go ahead and add their ideas to the platform and have other people inside the network collaborate on those ideas and potentially even join and create a founding team. And we were tasked to do this in 10 days. Now, we were able to push back a little bit on that deadline, and we're able to negotiate with the business unit and get it to 5 weeks because we were starting from ground zero, and we're able to launch it in that 5 weeks at Techstars Summit. So like I said, we had the deadline set ahead of time, and we needed to execute and get the features out to our users for that launch. So we'll be covering 5 quick tips on how you can launch an application in 5 weeks or less. So first, focus on shipping and outcomes. This is critical. We had the motto of build, launch, iterate. So we really, really focused on deploying our code as quickly as we could and pushing out features as fast as we could. Now, this was a case where we were really looking to validate the use case of this product. And so therefore, speed became much more important versus the longevity, the high level scalability, things like that of the application. Now, in the past at the security company that I work for, this was not the case. We focused on quality over speed. But particularly with Studio, we were able to focus on speed primarily. So secondly, use a design library. This will help you build quickly and will reduce friction between the designs that you get and the engineering effort. Now, I think I forgot to mention, there were 2 engineers on this project and 1 designer, all building this application. So we had a small team and 1 PM. So we had a small team, but we were small but mighty. And we had to find ways to reduce friction between each of the disciplines so we could deploy quickly. We used a couple tools. We used Zeppelin primarily for the designer to developer pass-off. This allowed us to easily pull images and get code attributes and things like that. And then we had a shared design library that we used both on the sketch side as well as in the code, which was Material UI. Third, prioritize. Be intentful about saying no. This might be hard because there's a lot of new technologies and new cool things that are fun to kind of play around with, but we had to be really diligent about saying no. So some of the things we did prioritize was user experience and user interaction. We wanted that to feel really, really polished for our end users so they could accomplish what they were trying to in this application and find great collaborators and have a general feeling of fulfillment from this application. And things that we didn't focus on was a lot of high complexity integrations or a ton of code coverage beyond what was necessary to know that the app was running well. Fourth, default to simplicity and speed. We relied heavily on Firebase as a platform. We used Firebase Auth, Firestore, as well as deployed our code using Cloud Functions. We also used Next.js, which handled a lot of the server-side rendering for us, and also handled a lot of the routing and things like that. So we relied heavily on the tools that we chose to help us move fast. Fifth, offload DevOps and use serverless. You know, Kubernetes and Docker are awesome. We all want to use them, but if you're trying to build as quickly as possible, serverless is the way to go, and especially for something that's not a crazy complex application where you need a bunch of microservices, serverless is super simple. Since we were using Next.js, we set up a simple function that served our entire application. And this is the Cloud Function. You could see the code here that deployed the whole app to our Cloud Functions. So in conclusion, focus on outcomes, use a design library, prioritize your tasks, and know what you're saying no to. Talk to your team about that, that's critical. Simplicity and speed are the name of the game, and offload DevOps, serverless is your friend. That's all. I think I'm actually a little bit over time, but thank you all for listening, and I hope you gathered some quick tips on how to build software as fast as possible.